Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and our delivery came early, so I'm going to be able to take the Kyosho Axxe 2.0 out of the box and just show you what it's all about. This is a second version of this car. The first one came out years ago. It was one of the first RCs that I had on my channel way back in the day. These are budget-minded, ready to run RC cars from Kyosho, hence the Easy series you see down there in the lower left hand of the box. First one I had, I did a lot of different things to it. I ran a brushless system in there on 2S power, handled it just fine, many different tire combos. But let's get this one out of the box and we'll see what differences, if any, that Kyosho made to this update. So obviously when you get a new RC car, always a good idea when you get it out of the box, just do a quick check, make sure that everything's in proper order. And when I had actually pulled, I had two cars come in today, so when I pulled this one out of the larger box from A-Main, I heard some rattling around in there, which got me wondering what was going on. And Dogbone was just kicking around in the bottom of the box. This upper link wasn't secured up here, so shouldn't be a big deal. Just pop the dog bone back in there, click, snap this R back on, and we should be good to go. Okay, so before we start looking at the actual car, I'll show you everything else that you get in the box. This isn't ready to run, but you do need to provide a battery for the car. You can use nickel metal hydride or 2S LiPo. The ESC is set to low voltage cutoff from the factory. And obviously you're going to need 4 AA's for your radio. But here is your manual. And, you know, nice manual. Does have the exploded views with part numbers on there. Always a handy thing. This here says optional parts catalog. And this is basically just looking like the cage, the body panels, screws, tires, all that stuff. Get a bag with the Kyosho T-wrench, which always a little bit bigger than the ones from Tamiya. A couple of Allen keys. You get a bind plug for your radio, and then of course your radio. It is Kyosho's KT-232P, 2.4 gigahertz. There is adjustabilities on there, throttle reversing, and trims and dual rates. These have always been pretty decent radios for me. I've never had an issue. And now we start looking at the car. And again, this is, you know, a beginner-friendly car. Like I said, I'd put a bunch of different, my older Axxe, I'd really put through its paces, and currently it's sitting out in the garage. I want to put it back together. It was over the summertime, and there was a few key pieces I was missing. And it's probably just going to become a donor parts car now that we've got this. And you know, so what do we notice about this? Well, the price comes in at $139.99 plus tax, so it's the same price as the Sandmaster. I just never got around to pulling the trigger on that one. You know, this one, there are no body clips. You have body panels. They look sharp. This comes in 2 colors. This one that I got with the yellow and the orange and the red. There's another one with blue over the gray. The gray looks pretty nice. The tubular frame itself this time around is white. The first one, it was black. And again, no body clips. These are held in. You can, these, I'm not going to pop them off right now, but these just pop off, and you get these little, on the top, for instance, there's 4 tabs here. You push back in. In my experience with the first version of this, yeah, over time they did start popping off here and there, especially when I put the brushless power to it. Not a huge deal. Tires and wheels, they look exactly the same as the first version, and on the first version of the car I got, those tires were very hard out of the box. I still have them, and I don't have them right handy though. I think they're up in Hayden's room. Very, very, very hard compound, ready to run tires, designed more to last than for performance. These ones here don't feel too bad. Surprisingly, they might be a little softer than what I remember on the first one. There are foams in there. And these are just little plastic discs that screw on top of the wheel. Nothing, you know, nothing special about them. From my understanding, pretty much the bigger differences in this version as opposed to the first one. The first one came with pogo style shocks, friction shocks, but they did include the stuff in the box for you to change them over to oil shocks. This one, they are oil filled out of the box. If you hear that thunk, that's the rear end still slapping the bench. One of the things that they said was they redesigned this gearbox to help eliminate that chassis slap and to protect the back of the car. Still might need to stiffen up those shocks, and thankfully though this time around the shocks have threaded collars on them, so you can adjust your dampening effect. And like I said, this is still, just like the first version, this is a heavier car. You're going to have this tube frame, the body panels, the spare tire on the back, which is functional. All adds to the weight of the car, so you're still going to get that slap. There's no adjustability on this car as far as your camber and your toe. They're all captured links. Your steering arms this time around are gray in color. I don't know if the materials used are any different. I never had an issue with the plastic. On the first Axxe that I had, like I said, I really put that thing through a lot. It is a 22 turn brushed motor. The ESC in here is labeled as waterproof, 40 amp ESC, and like I said earlier, you can run nickel metal hydride or a 2S LiPo, just a matter of moving that jumper switch. And it is a 6 kilogram waterproof servo. We'll see if that's going to be strong enough to move these tires much. I'll put a battery in here in a little bit. But yeah, it's a sharp looking car, and again, this is, you know, for beginners, and I personally don't mind slower cars. The older I get, the more I actually kind of like them. This back here, this is a whole driver plate. Not much detail. I mean, everything is just one piece molded in black. You've got a back deck here, you know, with some fake fans back there. You do have a driver figure. The helmet is gray. Looks like a black decal for the visor, maybe. Plastic window netting, those just snap in there. Good looking car though. There are no LEDs in the front, those are just decals on the front bumper, and no holes in the back, so, you know, unless you really feel like getting crafty, there's no lenses up front, you're not going to put lights on here. They retain they call it simple one-handed battery bay access. There's a button here that you push in, you slide that up, and then this just pops out. Like so. Should be able to fit a 2S in there, no problem. Got enough space up here where your balance, you know, your battery wire and your balance leads can go straight up through there. So really the only thing left to check, and I'm going to do it off camera and then come back, is these cars come with, for whatever reason, they have always come with a plastic pinion gear. I would have gladly paid an extra $10 if they had just put a metal one in there to begin with. Like I said, I'm going to do this off camera. I'm going to try and get this cover off here without having to get too awful involved, and just to verify that that is plastic. Then we'll put a battery in it, check out that steering servo, and that's going to wrap this one up. Okay, so as I suspected, the pinion gear is plastic, just like on the first version. Yeah, I just don't know why they would do that. It looks like it's just pressed on there. So at some point, obviously soon, I'll be going to a metal one. Not sure if I've got one right on hand. I might have to have a look at getting a new one. But the first one I'm going to do completely stock, so I'll leave it on there. A couple things I noticed in taking the gear cover off. Number one, to get the gear cover off, you had this this little side piece here, which just mounts up to the tube frame, and then back here, just a matter of removing 2 screws. Then you got 3 screws on your gearbox cover. Pretty easy to get to. The third one's back here. Not a huge hassle. But a couple things I did notice while checking out this Pinion Gear. They have an actual nut going over your spur gear here. Before, I believe it was an E-clip. I had to change this out once on my old one, and I don't know, I'm just not a huge fan of E-clips. So good to see that on there. There is no slipper system on here, but also take a look. I don't know how well it'll show up on camera, but you have a bunch of different mounting positions depending on what pinion gear you're putting in there, which eliminates the guesswork if you don't feel very confident in setting your gear mesh. It has settings for, I don't have my glasses, there's a 21, 25, 23. Yeah, so you have different, plenty of different options. With a motor like this in the ESC, you can probably, you can easily probably go up a few teeth if you want to. But yeah, I just thought I would get in there and just double check, because I know some people might be asking. Yes, it is a plastic pinion gear. So I'm going to get all this button back up. We're going to get a battery in it, and we're just going to test out the steering real quick. Just a couple other things real quick. I do have a standard hard case 2S pack in here. It's a Z 5200 milliamp hour hard pack 2-cell battery. So you get your lead wires tucked into that space that they leave open there, and this battery fits no problem. And I also forgot to mention on this version, it is hex hardware throughout. On the first one was Phillips head. Although I gotta say, I have stripped out more hex heads than I have Phillips heads, and you know, 95% of the time I use this to me a tool set, which has probably been the best tool purchase. I know everybody still says MIP, I'm just cheap and don't want to pay that much, but yeah, hex head throughout, but hard case 2S fits in here just fine. So we'll get everything turned on and test out that servo. All right, so I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, but Kyosho put the on-off switch in a very inauspicious place. I'm going to use a tool to turn it on because I don't feel like trying to wedge my fat finger in that small hole. The radio's on. The car's on. Right. Hit the throttle first. I said these tires this time around, they might be a little bit softer. I mean, they're still hard, but the ones on the first version were very, very hard. All right, steering seems pretty good with the car lifted up. Let's try it with it just sitting on the ground, not under power. Seems plenty good to me for this buggy. So I know this one's gone long, guys, but I know I especially had one person that saw that when I had this, they were really looking forward to the unboxing video, so I wanted to get it out there as quick as possible. I got this at A-Main Hobbies. I see that this color is already out of stock. The blue one they still have in stock for $139.99. So that's going to do it for this long unboxing overview video. I'm going to get this car out there as soon as I can to give it a run. I'm going to be off on New Year's Day. The problem is they're calling for a winter storm watch right now for the area. Not sure when it begins or when it ends. But right now they're calling for a few inches of snow on Wednesday. But if it's not too bad, I might get out there with this. I'm also really itching to get the Hobby Plus Arctos out there. Not to mention that I got a second vehicle that came in with this today. So I got a lot to get to, but I'll try and get the first run of the Axxe out there real quick. Guys, as always, thanks for taking some time out of your day to check out my videos. Until the next time, everyone, stay safe. We'll see you around.